Good morning. It's my privilege to be here this morning. And I want to proclaim this morning that Jesus is coming again soon.
Amen.
This is the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and that's in our name. Adventist means Jesus is coming again. And we believe soon. And I'd like to share with you our scripture again. We read that, but you know, it is so dramatic. Life goes on and things become normal. And yet, if we look back, we see that normal today was not normal yesterday. I'm 57 years old. And I can remember 50 years ago. Is there anyone here that can remember 50 years ago? Quite a few hands. 1967, 50 years ago. This was a different world. Normal then would not be considered normal today. And what's going on in the world today, if it all of a sudden was happening back then, there'd be an uprising. But let's share 1 Corinthians 15, beginning at verse 51. This is about the day that the last trumpet will sound. That last trumpet is going to blow. And this describes what's going to happen. But I want to tell you, my friends, it's going to be much more dramatic. It's going to have much more impact. We just heard that song, The Midnight Cry. I love this word in the Bible. This text starts with it. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 51. And I believe that when you use this word, you should say it aloud. It's not a quiet word. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. How about that? I change every day. Put on clean socks, put on clean clothes, wash my hair, and I change from a dirty man into a clean man. Every morning. But this change will be a lot more dramatic. Verse 53. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. What a change! I'm 57 years old, and I have aches and pains. And I'm told by my friends that I haven't seen anything yet. that there's even more aches and pains in store for me as the years pass by. But at that moment, those aches and those pains will disappear.
Yeah.
There'll be a memory. Remembered pain is a lot nicer than current pain, isn't it? And this mortal, we're told only God is immortal. We do not possess that on our own. But on that day, God's people will not die. We will live. We will collect the promise. Let's read that again. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? As our sister said, our victory is in Jesus Christ. What a time! That last trumpet shall sound. That last trumpet. Oh, what a day that will be. And that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
We do not want to be. There's a history of trumpets in the Bible. Did you know that? Did you know that a trumpet is a very effective weapon in war? Did you know that? We don't do that these days. We don't come up to the enemy and blow the trumpet at them. We just do other things. But you know, with God's army, He still uses trumpets. And we're gonna see that. Let's look in the Old Testament at Joshua 6. Had people tell me not to spend so much time in the Old Testament, but to you that have given me that advice, I say 3/4 of the whole Bible is in the Old Testament. 1/4 is in the New Testament. And the Old Testament is a testimony. And Jesus Christ Himself told us to study the Scriptures, for in them we will find Him. Jesus Christ is in the Old Testament. That's all He had when He studied with those folks on the road to Emmaus. So Jesus Christ is in the Old Testament, and we use it to proclaim Jesus Christ. Verse 1. Joshua 6, verse 1. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out, and none came in. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. Verse 3, And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. So let's stop and think. The city of Jericho. Anyone heard about the walls of Jericho, how thick they were? They thought they were pretty safe. Many people in this Coachella Valley live behind walls. They have a gate where you come in. The guard at the gate is armed. And many people feel safe because they live in a community like that. Well, when Jesus comes again, those walls will be cast down. And Jesus is coming, ready or not.
Yeah.
So, let's examine this. The children of Israel, they're camped out by the Jordan River. And here we have this lush green Jericho in an oasis. And it's beautiful. Did I mention they had very thick walls? Tall walls? So here comes the children of Israel. The men, they come marching up to the city. And the guards say, they're coming! The Israelites are coming! Beware! And they get there. And then what do? They start to march around the city. And they're watching, what are they doing? What do they think they're going to accomplish? And probably some derisions and things like that. And they march all the way around the city. And they go home. And they're wondering, in Jericho, there's a top. What is going on? And the second day comes. Here comes Israel. This might be it. What are they going to do this time? So they come up. They march all the way around the city again. And they go home. You know, they say it takes about 3 days for something to become a habit. So that third day, they still had a little apprehension. Here comes Israel. They're going to march around the city again. What a bunch of dopes they are. Imagine that. What do they think they're going to accomplish? We've got thick walls here. So they come up and they march all the way around the city and they go home. So by the time the fourth day comes, they see Israel coming. Yeah, they're going to march around the city and they're going to go home. And that's what they do. And that's becoming expected. And the fifth day, they come again. Well, that's expected. And it happens. That sixth day, it's almost ho-hum. Nobody pays attention to them. Except the guard on duty. And they march around the city and they go home. And then the seventh day comes. Let's look at the Bible. This is interesting stuff. Verse 4. And 7 priests shall bear the ark, 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day shall compass the city 7 times. And the priests shall blow with the trumpets, and it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye shall hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat. Is there a difference between falling down and falling down flat? Yes, there is. And the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. So there the 7th day comes. And these men of Israel, they come walk up in the city. And they walk all the way around the city. And the watchman says, hey! They're not going home. They're starting around the city a second time. This is different. And people began to gather. And watch. Here they go all the way around the city. And they do it a third time. Oh, the king is reading out. There's a foreboding of doom in the lost city of Jericho. And they march around a fourth time. And a fifth time. And a sixth time. And they make that seventh round about the city. And the trumpets sound, and the people shout, and the walls fall down flat. I mean flat. And the children of Israel rush in. And everyone in the city of Jericho is lost. Except who? Rahab and all that are in her house. Amen. Righteousness. A little bit of righteousness goes a long way. It wasn't just Rahab, but it was everyone in her house. Each one of us Christians are a refuge in society, and we need to have around us an influence sweet. And yes, there are the people that are willing to point their finger at us and laugh at us and say, oh, those Christians, they're so ridiculous. But you know, who looked ridiculous when those walls fell down flat? Who looked ridiculous? Who's going to look ridiculous when Jesus comes again and that trumpet sounds? I always am reminded of something that happened. Remember Lily, who used to be here and unlock the church faithfully every morning, and she had the stroke. And we have 2 dogs, and she had a little dog that she named Egypt. And what kind of dog was Egypt? Pomeranian. Black Pomeranian dog. Nice dog. Well, that first night I came home and Lily's dog and my dogs were having a good time. They were playing underneath the chair. And I opened the door and all 3 dogs looked up at me. And 2 dogs came running for me. They were happy to see me. But Egypt looked at me and ran as far as he could underneath the chairs in the corner of the house. He didn't know me. When Jesus comes, those who know him will be eager and anxious to meet the Lord. Amen. But the lost, they're going to call for the rocks and the trees to hide them from the glory of the Lord. Amen. Well, let's look at some more Old Testament. Gideon. He was a judge in Israel. And they'd been having trouble with Midian. Midian was coming in and stealing the food. And they had to hide what food. They could. You know, it's no fun to be hungry. And when you're hungry, does time pass by quickly? when you're hungry and it's 10 minutes till dinner time? Those 10 minutes go by swiftly. No! And the clock goes tick, 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 backs up a couple of ticks. Tick, 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 backs up again. Tick, tick, tick. Goes by slowly. But boy, once you start that meal and start eating, that time just goes zoom, zoom, zoom. Well, the people in Israel were hungry. And they were desperate. And they raised up an army. The Lord had promised Gideon. It says in Judges 7, beginning in verse 1. Then Zerubbabel, who is Gideon, I guess that was his official title, name, Zerubbabel, judge of Israel. He was Gideon. And all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Haron, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill Moreh in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, mine own hand hath saved me. You know? We like getting a pat on the back. We like getting praise. We like that, don't we? And back 41 years ago, I spent the summer working for a man that had a little sign on his desk. And if you go over to Simi Valley, you can see that sign. That same sign. He had a sign on his desk that said, you can accomplish anything you want as long as you don't mind who gets the credit. Accomplish it. Anybody know that man's name? You know him. You know him. His name's Ronald Reagan. How do you know who he is? Well, the Lord knew that spirit. And he was going to have something dramatic happen. And in Israel, they had a custom. Before they went to war, they went and they called out. It says, verse 3, now therefore go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000. A little over 2/3 of them. Go! You don't want people that are afraid. It's catchy. It's catchy. And verse 4, and the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. You imagine what Gideon thought? There's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Midianites. And we had a small army to begin with, Lord. And we've lost 2/3 of it. And now you're telling me this is too big? And the Lord told him to bring them to the water. And he said, watch and observe. see who lays down and drinks right out of the water, and see who kneels down and dips their hand and laps the water up out of their hand. Watch and divide them. Go through and divide them. So he had 9,700 soldiers that had just put their face down in the water and drank in a hurry. And he had 300 men who were aware and watchful and dipped their hands. And the Lord said, "The victory is yours, Gideon." You know, sometimes we say in our church, we have a lot of empty seats. Oh, it would be a lot better if we had a full church. Yes, but that is a two-edged sword. If we have a few that are dedicated to the Lord and are willing to do what you can do for the Lord, isn't that better than to having a bunch of fence sitters, people who can't make up their mind and are willful in their own way and are not willing to take the Lord's instruction? Well, that's how the Lord felt about this army. He had 300 watchful people. And at night, Gideon and his soldiers, they had torches. They had jars around the torches. What else did they have? Trumpets! Don't forget the trumpets. And they approached the camp of the Midianites. And they were sleeping. And the men, all at once at the signal, broke the jars and made a big noise. And had their torches. And they blew their trumpets. And the Midianites, "Gideon's coming! Watch out for your life!" And they got out their swords and they started killing each other because they thought Gideon was right there. And they were fighting. And it was dark. And they went on the run. And they were chased down. And for the rest of the time that Gideon was judge in Israel, the Midianites left them alone. The victory is God's. The victory is the Lord's. And let's remember that. And let's give him the credit. The Lord deserves the credit. And as we finish up, Revelation 18. This voice is coming. Revelation 18, verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues. That is our message. Jesus is coming. He's looking for the faithful. We need to be faithful. And we need to be proclaimers. And not smarty pants proclaimers, my friends. We need to proclaim in a sincere way. You've heard people proclaim, and all you can do is get away from them. Because they're proclaiming in such a way that makes you want to get away from them. But we need to proclaim in such a way to attract people. Yes, Jesus is coming again. And when it's all said and done, Revelation 22, verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, on either side of the river, there was a tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. And there is no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for the Lord God giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. And he said unto me, these sayings are faithful and true, and the Lord God of the holy prophets sent his angel to show them unto his servants the things which must shortly be done. I want to be by that river that flows from the throne of God. I want to eat from the tree of life.
Amen.
I want to rub myself with some of those leaves. How about you? Can we make an appointment to meet there in glory? I want you, my friends, to have salvation. Now it's time for our closing song. Hymn 430. 430. This hymn kind of represents what it'll be like at the very end as we have a new beginning. 430. Let's stand together as we sing.